When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. Septum Sin versus the world. 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 I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching Septum Sin vs. the World. I'm Septum Sin. Today, I'm covering a film called Cult of the Shadow People. Cool cover, right? This DVD doesn't really come with any extras. I guess it's a DVD-R, kind of burn on demand. You can actually feel the quality on the disc. You can usually tell when something is in that quality because you can kind of feel it. It doesn't have that smoothed out feeling. It kind of has that papery feeling. But still, it's always cool to have something like that. And I want to thank Kyle Rappaport for letting me know about this and its existence, for he is involved in this creation. And that is how I was turned on to this. So let's talk a little bit about the plot. There is this cult that is turning people into werewolves and disappearing other people. And this guy has been hired in order to find out what's going on and to put a stop to it. Through his investigation, he comes upon forces that even he does not know how to deal. So there are some good and there are some bad things in this movie. I really liked some of the costume design. I like the cult masks that they use. Those porcelain-looking masks, that's just kind of those indistinct white faces, those are really cool. I don't know what it is about those that just really makes it fun for me, but it really is. It just is just kind of cool. And the other thing about it, costume-wise, there are a couple other pieces of makeup and design that I also thought were interesting. This movie had some moments that I did feel had some legit thriller qualities to them. I could see how this could give you some level of suspense, and that is kind of cool. Also, I love anything when I can actually see Kyle perform. He does a good job with a lot of these, and he did a pretty good job playing somebody who's just kind of playing with the forces of the occult. And of course, you know what happens when you when you play with forces of the occult. And if you don't, well, you haven't watched many movies. But this is something that you should check out. At least as far as I'm concerned when it comes to this type of thing. On top of that, I did find that the story itself had some intriguing elements to it. I thought that it was a story worth telling. And I thought it was something that kept me wanting to know more. Well, we talk about the good. Let's talk about the bad. I give movies in this vein leeway when it comes to effects, when it comes to acting in different areas. And some people really did perform above their caliber, others not so much. But again, not below what I would expect here, but don't expect, A-level quality here. And I will admit, there were parts of this film that I probably should have been kind of creeped out or scared about, but I ended up laughing instead. There was a part where these guys come in, and then there's a group of werewolves with guns that are assaulting them. And I admit the werewolf costumes, I had a hard time taking it seriously, because it was just, to me, it was just almost funny in a lot of aspects. And I like that about B-movies. I like that about these types of movies, because they can make you laugh as well as produce some suspense. When they can produce that level of suspense, that to me shows that they truly get it. And this one walked the edge, and I wondered, because it walked the edge a bit too much, in my opinion. This one could have gone along the same lines as another group of films called The Demon Hunters. The difference between these two is that Demon Hunters did not take itself seriously at all, and this movie, I felt like it was really trying to take itself seriously a lot of the time. I mean, there's one scene that I did think was quite hilarious when he pulls out this like instant asshole malt liquor. I just, again, that was an intentional crack up, I'm pretty sure, and I have to I have to say that really was funny. But with that, in regards to the plot, I feel like having a hard time keeping its balance and having some confusing elements to the plot, like werewolves, and then some sort of Lovecraftian horror elements thrown in. I was confused at times as to where this movie was, where it was going, and what they wanted. So, it is a mixed bag. Still, for what it is a fun and entertaining ride. So would I recommend Cult of the Shadow People? I would give it a 6 out of 10. Quite enjoyable, not the best of its breed, but well worth your time. Of course, like this video, subscribe, and share if you've enjoyed this experience. Of course, you can always meet me down in the comments and let me know what your experience with the Shadow People is. I see this looks like it's trying to set up for a sequel. Does anyone know if there was a sequel made? Does anyone who's seen this feel like a sequel should be made? Does anybody who's seen this think it was really good or really bad? I was kind of in the middle. There was a little bit of A and a little bit of B. Not enough for me to be bored, but not enough for me to go, so let me know in the comments down below. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and of course, I will see you on the YouTube shoutout. Welcome back for the YouTube shoutout. This time, I'm going to bring us back to the era of video gaming with Nostalgia Nerd, a man who tickles the insides of my mind and scrapes the dust off from my youth. This is an individual, I believe from the UK, who examines a lot of the older side of technology. There were two that I have come across that are similar to this, who tend to examine things. One tends to do more documentary related material, where the other tends to do more in-depth examination. This person has a personality that is enjoyable and a voice that is fun to listen to when you're watching. To me, I find most of the stuff he talks about quite interesting. He'll take apart a computer that you can see You can look at the old school box. I'm trying to think of a good one from the last. I know that he touches a lot on the Amiga, which was not so much over on this side, but was quite popular on the UK. And of course the Sega Master System, which I like anybody who gives time to the Sega Master System, because I feel like I was one of the very few people who understood that Sega had a system prior to the Genesis. So, if you haven't heard of the Nostalgia Nerd, give him a check on him, because you might learn something quite enjoyable. Well, this has been Septum with another YouTube shoutout. Check out his link in the in the notations below.